The Story of Phaethon. From Ovid's Metamorphoses. Translated by Rolfe Humphries. The royal palace of the sun rose high on lofty columns, bright with flashing gold, with bronze that glowed like fire, and ivory crowned the gables, and the double folding doors were radiant with silver. Manner there had conquered matter, for the artist Vulcan carved, in relief, the earth-encircling waters, the wheel of earth, the overarching skies. The sea holds blue-green gods, resounding Triton, Proteus who changes always, and Aegeon, gripping the backs of whales, the sea nymph Doris and all her daughters, swimming, some, and others sitting on sea-wet rocks, their green hair drying, and others riding fishes. All the sea-girls seem different, but alike, as sisters ought to. And the land has men and cities, beasts and forests, rivers and nymphs and woodland gods. Above them, the image of the shining sky is fashioned, 6 of the zodiac symbols on the right, 6 on the left. And here, climbing sun came climbing up the stairway to the palace, entered the palace which might be his father's, turned toward the face that might have been his father's, and stopped, far off, for he could not bear that radiance. Clothed in a robe of crimson, there was Phoebus, high on the throne, with brightest emeralds gleaming. To the left and right, the days, the months, the years, the centuries stood, and the hours at even spaces. Young spring was there wearing a crown of flowers, and naked summer carrying sheaves of grain, and autumn stained with trodden grapes, and winter icy with hoary hair. And from their center the all-seeing sun saw this young man, who trembled at all this strangeness. "Phaethon," he said, "what have you come here for, to this high dwelling? What do you seek, O Phaethon, my son, undoubtedly my son?" The boy answered, "O common light of the great universe, Phoebus, my father, if I have the right to use that name, and my mother is not lying to hide some guilt with false pretense, my father, give me proof so people will believe me, know me for what I am, and let my mind be free of doubting." As he spoke, the sun god put off his diadem of light, and called him closer and held him fast, and said, "My son, you are worthy of acknowledgement. Your mother has told you no lies about your birth. To prove it, to make you doubt the less, ask any favor, whatever you will. Surely it will be granted. I swear by Styx. I have never seen that river, but no god takes his name in vain, so let him be witness of my promise." As he ended, or even before, the boy asked for the chariot. Control for one day over the winged horses. Too late to take the oath back, but the father repented having sworn it. Over and over he shook his shining head. "Your words," he said, "have made mine rash. Could I take back the promise, this is the only thing I would deny you. So let me try persuasion. What you want, my son, is dangerous. You ask for power beyond your strength and years. Your lot is mortal, but what you ask is beyond the lot of mortals. Poor ignorant boy, you ask for more than gods have any claim on. Each of them may do much as he will, but none of them has power, with one exception, your father, to hold the reins, riding that fiery car. Not even Jove, hurler of thunderbolts, could drive this chariot. And who is greater than Jove? The road at first is steep, uphill. The horses hardly make it with all their morning ardor fresh upon them. Then it runs very highly across mid-heaven, so very high that I myself am frightened sometimes to see the world so far below me. Last, it descends as steeply as it rises, needing the tightest kind of rein. The goddess Tethys, who takes me to her ocean waters, has often feared for me in that downward plunging. To make bad matters worse, the sky is always whirling with dizzy motion, and the stars wheel with its speed. I make my way against it. I drive against the turning systems safely. But you, suppose you had my chariot. Could you keep the wheel steady? Fight the spin of the world? Do you think there are cities there, and lovely woodlands, and temples rich with gifts? No, no, my son. The highway runs through every lurking danger, past fearful monsters. Even on the course, even with no mistakes at all, you must pass the bull's lowered horns, the savage archer, the lion, open-mouthed, the wicked scorpion, curving the sweep of his arms in one direction, the crab another. And it is not easy to hold those horses, hot with fire and snorting from mouth and nostril. I can hardly hold them when they warm up for their work and fight the bridle. Beware, my son. I do not want to give you the gift of death. There is time to change your prayer. Of course you want the most convincing proof I am your father. That I give you, surely, by fearing as I do. I am proved a father by a father's fear. Look at me. You see my face. Would you could see my heart and all the cares held there for you, my son. Or look about you. Ask something, anything, from all those riches of heaven, earth and the ocean. You shall have it. Only this one thing do not ask, I beg you. A punishment, not a favor, silly boy. Why put those pleading arms around me? Doubt not, it will be given, whatever you choose. I swore it, but choose more wisely. So his warning ended, and did no good, as Phaethon insisted on what he had first asked, to drive the chariot. All that the father could do was keep him waiting, but he finally consented, led him down to where the chariot stood, the work of Vulcan, axle and pole of gold, and tires of gold, and spokes of silver, and along the yoke chrysolites shone, and every kind of jewel gave back the bright reflection. And the boy was marvelling at the craftsmanship, when, look you, Aurora, watcher of the rosy morning, opened the crimson portals and the courtways all full of roses, and the stars were gone, whom Lucifer, last of all to leave the heaven, marshalled along their way. The sun god saw him, saw the world redden, and the moon's thin crescent vanish from sight, and bade the speedy hours to yoke the horses. And they did so, quickly, leading them from their lofty stalls, with fire breathed from their nostrils, and well fed on juices of rich ambrosial fodder. Then the harness was put in place, and for the sun god, for protection, touched his son's face with holy medication, put on the radiant diadem, and sighed from his foreboding heart, and said, At least, my son, perhaps you can obey a father's warning. Go easy on the whip, hard on the reins. They need no urging, the trouble is to hold them. Do not cut straight through the 5 zones of heaven. The course runs on a slant, a middle pathway, missing the north and south. Follow the wheel tracks. You will see them clearly. Sky and earth both need equal degrees of heat. Too low, you burn the one. Too high, the other. The middle is safest. Beware. On the right, the writhing of the serpent. Beware on the left, the dangerous sunken altar. Keep between both. The rest I leave to fortune to help you, and to give you, or I hope so, better direction than you give yourself. And now, while I am talking, dewy night has reached her goal in the west. We cannot linger. Our call is on us. Look, the dawn is glowing, the shadows gone. Here, take the reins and hold them, or better still, there is still time. Be taking my counsel, not my chariot. Let me light the world, and you stand there on solid ground, and watch in safety. But while he was talking, the boy was in the car, and stood there proudly, holding the reins, all happiness, and thanking his father for the gift he gave unwillingly. Meanwhile, the horses, Pyrois, Eus, Phaethon, and Phlegon, filled the air with neighing, snorting and pawing at their bars. And Tethys, ignorant of her grandson's fate, let fall the barriers. They had their chance at heaven, the horses, now, and took it, and their hooves cut through the clouds before them, and their wings bore them aloft, and they overtook the winds that rose from the same east. But the weight was light, not such that they were used to, and the yoke without its usual pressure. So, as schooners, unballasted, careen and roll and yaw out of the proper course, so the bright chariot tosses and bounds, as if there were no driver. It did not take the horses long to know it, to run away, beyond control. The driver, in panic, does not know in which direction to turn the reins, does not know where the road is, and even if he knew, he could do nothing with those wild, plunging animals. The bear, for the first time in all his life, grew hot and tired, in vain to seek forbidden oceans for coolness. And the serpent, near the pole, torpid and harmless with the chill upon him, burned into angry fury. And the plough ox, clumsy and tame in the shifts of his heavy wagon, went dashing off in terror. From the heaven, the unhappy boy looked down, far, far below him. He saw the lands, and he grew pale. His knees trembled beneath him, and the darkness came into his eyes from too much light. He wishes he had never touched those horses of his father's. To have learned his birth was nothing. To have gained by pleading now seems worse than loss. He might be the son of Merops. He would be even eager to have them call him so. But he is born like a ship before a gale, unsteered, unmastered, abandoned to the gods and useless praying. What should he do? Much of the sky behind him, much more is still ahead. Imagination measures them both, and his eyes, at times, look forward to the west that he will not reach, and look back eastward, and he is dazed and stunned and dazzled, and neither drops the reins or really holds them. He does not know the horses' names, and terror is doubled, tripled, as he sees around him strange figures in the sky and savage beasts. The scorpion, for instance, arms outstretching in 2 half circles, and the other members spread across infinite acres, and black poison, stinking and rank, and the threatening curved stinger. Out of his senses, with cold fear upon him, Phaethon dropped the reins, and when the horses feel them across their backs, and none to check them, bolting, they charge into air of unknown regions, wherever impulse hurls them, lawless and crashing against the stars. They keep the chariot bounding through pathless ways, now high, now low, toward heaven, or plunging sheer toward the earth. The moon, in wonder, watches her brother's horses running lower than her own steeds. The scorched clouds smoke. The mountains of earth catch fire. The prairies crack. The rivers dry up. The meadows are white hot. The trees, the leaves, burn to a crisp. The crops are tinder. I grieve at minor losses. The great cities perish, and their great walls, and nations perish with all their people. Everything is ashes. The woods and mountains burn. Athos and Taurus, Tmolus and Oeta, all the springs of Ida dry up, and Helicon, home of the Muses. Haemus and Aetna blaze. Twin-peaked Parnassus and Eryx, Cynthus, Orthrus. The snow is gone from Rhodope at last. Dindyma, Mimas, Mycale, burn, and holiest Cytheron. The cold cannot save Scythia, whose landmark Caucasus burns, and Ossa burns, and Pindus, and Mount Olympus, greater and both together. The Alps, the cloud-topped Apennines, are burning. And Phaethon sees the earth on fire. He cannot endure this heat, the blast of some great furnace. Under his feet he feels the chariot glowing white hot. He cannot bear the sparks, the ashes, the soot, the smoke, the blindness. He is going somewhere, that much he knows, but where he is he does not know. They have their way, the horses. And that was when, or so men think, the people of Africa turned black. Since the blood was driven by that fierce heat to the surface of their bodies, and Libya was desert, and the nymphs mourned for their pools and fountains, and the rivers, wide though they may have been, had no more safety. The Don was smoking, and the Erymanthus and Xanthus, which would know a second burning in years to come, the serpentine Myander, yellow Lycormus, Thracian Melas, perish, and Sparta seems Eurotas burn. Orontes, Thermondon, Danube, Babylon's Euphrates, from Ganges to the golden sands of Tagus, all burning, burning. The Mioan swans, whose melodies were heard along Cayster, were heard no more, and the Nile fled in terror and hid its head in earth, and it stays hidden. No man today knows where. The 7 mouths are empty, filled with dust. 7 dry channels, Hebrus and Strymon dry up, and the western rivers, the Po, the Rhine, the Rhone, the very Tiber promised dominion over all the world. The earth gapes open, and the light goes down deep into the underworld, whose king and queen blink in their terror of it. Even the ocean shrinks to a plain of sand. The hidden mountains emerge to join the Cyclades. The dolphins dare leap and curve in the high air no longer. The fish dive deep, and the dead seals are floating, white-bellied on the surface. The story has it that Nereus and Doris and their daughters found even their deep-sea caverns hot and stifling. Neptune, with scowling countenance, dared lift his arms 3 times above the waves. 3 times he could not bear the fiery air. And Earth, our mother, circled by the ocean, amid the waters and the shrinking fountains contracting into her darkness, parched by heat, raised up her stifled face, and put a hand to shield her forehead, and her trembling made everything shudder. She sank down again, lower than ever before, and then she spoke. "O greatest of the gods, if this is pleasing and I deserve it, why hold back the lightning? If I must die by fire, then let me perish by fire you send, and lighten the destruction because you are its author. I can hardly—" The smoke was suffocating. "Open my lips to speak. Look at my hair, burned crisp. Look at the ashes in eyes and face. Is this what I am given for being fruitful, dutiful, for bearing the wounds of harrow and ploughshare year on year? Is this my due reward for giving fodder to flocks and herds, and corn to men, and incense for the gods' altars? Maybe I deserve it, but what about the ocean and your brother? Neptune's allotted waters ebb and vanish, farther and farther from heaven. Well, never mind him, never mind me, but have a little pity for your own skies. Look, on both sides the poles are smoking. If that fire corrupts the heavens, your palaces will topple. Even Atlas strains and can hardly bear this white-hot burden. If sea and land and sky are lost, we are hurled into the ancient chaos. Save us, Father. Preserve this residue. Take thought, take counsel for the sum of things." The earth could say no more. So fierce the smouldering heat, and she sank deeper into the caverns near the world below us. But the Almighty Father called for witness all of the gods, and most of all the Sun God, who had given his son the chariot, that all things would perish if he did not help, and quickly. And then he sought the citadel of heaven, its very peak and pinnacle, whence he spreads clouds over the world and sets his thunder rolling and hurls his lightning bolts. But now he has no clouds to veil the earth with, and no rainfall, but he makes thunder sound, and poises lightning head high in his right hand, and flings it from him, striking the charioteer, and the bolt smashes his car, his life. So fire extinguished fire, and the mad horses leapt, tore loose the yoke, broke from the broken reins. The axle lies far from the pole, and spokes and wheels are shattered. The wreckage scatters far. And Phaethon, his ruddy hair on fire, falls streaming down the long trail of the air. A star sometimes falls from clear heaven, so, or seems to fall, and far from home a river god receives him, bathes his poor burning face, and the western naiads give burial to the broken body, smoking with the fire of that forked bolt, and on the stone they carved an epitaph. Here Phaethon lies, who drove his father's chariot. If he did not hold it, at least he fell in splendid daring. And his poor father, sick at heart, refused to show his countenance, and one whole day, or so men say, went without the sun. The fire supplied what light there was. How useful! And the boy's mother, after she had said whatever could be said on such occasions, out of her mind with grief, tearing her bosom, went wandering over the world to find the body, or anyway the bones, and found the bones, at last, but buried by a foreign river. She threw herself beside the tomb. Her tears fell on the letters graven in the marble, where she could read his name, and her arms fondled the gravestone to her breast, and all her daughters joined in her useless ritual of sorrow. By night and day they called upon their brother, who will not hear them, ever. And they lie there before the sepulchre, and the moon filled and waned and filled 4 times, and in their custom, by now it was a custom, they still sorrowed, wanted to fling herself to earth, and could not, till one day Phaethon, the oldest daughter, because she made complaint, her feet had stiffened. Lampetia, the fair one, tried to help her and could not move at all, suddenly rooted in earth. Another sister, tearing her hair, pulled leaves away, and another, found shins and ankles were wood, and arms were branches. And as they looked at these, in grief and wonder, bark closed around their loins, their breasts, their shoulders, their hands, but their lips kept calling, Mother. What could Clymene do but follow impulse? Run every which way, try to kiss each daughter, tear loose the bark, break off the little twigs at the fingers' ends. But the broken twigs were bleeding, and each one, wounded, cried, Don't hurt me, Mother. That is no tree you are tearing, but my body. Farewell, farewell. And then the bark closed over the last word each one said. But still their tears kept flowing down, till, hardened in the sunlight, they turned into amber, and the shining river receives them, bears them on, to be jewels of Roman brides hereafter. Cygnus saw it, the son of Sthenelus, a distant cousin of Phaethon, but closer bound in spirit. And he too mourned, and left behind his kingdom, Liguria, which he ruled with her great cities, and went lamenting by green banks and waters. And through the woods, with the new young trees, the sisters. As he went, his voice grew thinner, shriller. White feathers hid his hair, and his neck lengthened. A web began to join his ruddy fingers. Wings came along his sides, and lips extended into a blunted beak. What once was Cygnus was a new bird, the swan. But he remembers the fire that Jove unjustly sent from heaven, and so distrusts the sky, and haunts low water, the pools, the spreading lakes. Hater of fire, he chose to cherish water. And the sun god, all this long while, remained in deepest mourning, gloomy without his brightness, darkened always as in eclipse, and hates himself and daylight, gives way to grief adds rage, refusing his duty to the world. From time's beginning I have had no rest, he says, and I am weary of all this thankless toil, this endless labor. Let anybody else who wants to drive it, the chariot of light. If no one wants to, if all the gods admit they cannot do it, then let Jove take the trouble himself, and someday, perhaps, he will be, for once, too busy holding the reins, and have to put aside his lightning, those evil bolts that murder sons for fathers. Then he will learn, once he himself discovers how strong they are, those fiery-footed horses. A boy who did not guide them well should hardly pay for his crime with death. As he was speaking, the gods stood all around him, and pleaded, humbly, that he should not spread darkness all over the world, and even Jove asks pardon for that lightning, adding a royal threat also. The sun god yokes the two teams again, still wild and trembling, yanks at the bit, cuts with the lash. He blames them, puts all the blame on them for his son's downfall.